there are instances where no. There's different avenues you can take to get rid of them. It always just depends. That's why the answer is, well, sometimes. Not every IRS balance is the same. Two people can owe the same amount, yet have completely different options. The IRS looks at why the balance exists, the filing history, the compliance history, and the current status. The amount owed is only part of the story. Why does this balance exist? Did you just not file something, or did you file it late but you had an extension? How often has this happened? Are you typically compliant? That's where the compliance history comes in. How frequently are you late, or are you ever late? And then, are you now current? Penalties and interest are different. Many taxpayers lump them together. They are two completely separate things. They have two different purposes. Generally, penalties are assessed for specific failures. Interest is charged on unpaid balances. The IRS will evaluate them differently and separately, and that's one of the things that can get somewhat confusing. Why penalties build faster than people expect? Most people don't realize notices take time. Your balance grows, and then additional penalties can be added. A relatively small issue can become much larger over time, and what feels manageable today can look very different a year later. If you are not taking care of it, that penalty will continue, and so will the interest, and it can go from just a small issue to a catastrophic issue. The biggest mistake people make is ignoring the issue. I said this before. That's number one. You're usually overwhelmed. They don't understand the notice, and they assume they'll deal with it later. The IRS doesn't care, nor will your situation improve with the IRS unless you start to actually work on it. That's the number one thing I want you to always know, is this isn't the end of the world if we start working on it now. If you wait 6 months to a year, that's when the levies happen, and that's when it becomes an issue. A lot of people assume I'll just call and ask to get a reduction, but that's not always guaranteed. It's not an automatic thing. The reality is the IRS generally expects specific circumstances before they will grant relief. And not every request is approved. You owed them the money. They don't care that you couldn't afford to pay it because you had X happen. You had this happen. There are instances where they will waive that, but you have to be prepared to hear the answer of no. And then we start to see, well, what is the actual possibility then? Documentation matters. The IRS often will want explanations. Why did you get this penalty? Was it a failure to file? Was it a failure to pay? Was it a failure to do X? Why? They want the records. They want to know, here is everything I have showing this is accurate. And they want that support. I have the receipt for this purchase of a new desk that I forgot to include for this. That's why I capitalized it. Here's the payroll report. Here's X, here's Y, and here is Z. Now, you don't always want to give them everything. You want to give them what they ask for. Over providing can be detrimental as well. But the stronger the information, the easier it is to evaluate options. What we often see is many people focus only on the balance. They ignore the underlying issue with their numbers, and they don't understand what caused the penalties. The best solution usually starts with understanding how the problem started. We want to understand how you got into this situation so that we can fix it going forward. We don't want to just deal with it later. We want to see, how do we stop this from happening? The best prevention is just that. You started it already. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about getting penalties and interest waived if you were preventative in the past. You made estimated tax payments. You filed everything on time. That's what we want. The earlier you address it, the better. More options generally exist when notices are recent. Compliance issues are corrected. The situation hasn't escalated, and then waiting rarely creates additional opportunities because of the fact now they feel you ignored them, and the IRS doesn't like being ignored. They don't care. Neither do state government. You can't just ignore them. They won't just go away. And that's what we want to fix. What most people really need is not a quick answer. They need clarity. Questions like, what do I actually owe? Is it $10,000? Is it $11,000? Is it $11,237? Why is it this amount? Well, here was your original balance due. Here's the penalty. Here is the interest. and here's all that has accrued. What options may exist? Can we do an offer and compromise? Can we do a long-term payment plan to handle this? Can we do this? Can we do that? Can we do a first-time penalty abatement? Possibly, but it's one of the things we have to know. And then what should happen next? Those are usually the questions that matter the most, and getting to the answer is going to be extremely helpful. If you have received notices, owe penalties and interest, or simply aren't sure what options may exist, it's worth getting clarity before making decisions. You can reach out to me, like I said, below with my booking link, or email joseph@hensoncpagroup.com. Happy to talk to you. I kept this one short this week because I know you guys are going to have a busy weekend. You have pets that are wanting to have medications for anxiety, or the blankets. They want that relaxation. You're going to be busy. So we kept this short. But if you guys need anything, I'm here for you. Feel free to reach out. But until then,